Hi guys, in this session we are going to understand what is meant by the exception. So there are many types of exceptions. So let me explain some of the exceptions so that you can understand the code part very easily. So we have compile time errors, and the next one is we have runtime errors, and the next one is we have logical errors. So in these three, what we can handle is the compile time errors, because if you mention how you can know compile time errors, spelling mistake as well, it is showing it is the compiler. So how you are getting this error, because this is known as compile time error. While you are writing code only, it will be going to show what is the error. So you can simply handle this compile time error, that is no issue. Then so I will come to the runtime errors, but you can so this logical errors is also one of the difficult errors to be solved, but you can handle these runtime errors. So ultimately the logical errors is the error that you need to solve by yourself, that there is no issue in the code itself. But what is if you there are errors something like you are dividing in the runtime. So user is, suppose what if user is giving the input at the time the error is coming. So if I show with the example, you can get to know. Basically with the runtime errors, it will stop all the execution after also. So if I say I have an integer called I, so I have declared an integer. If I say 20 by I, okay, there is no issue in that. Now if you understand, if you try to understand, just I declare two variables. The first variable is I, the second variable is j, but the value of j is 20 by I. Now suppose if I come here and if I try to print something in the terminal, so here if I say something like j, so there is no issue, it will be going to print something in the terminal. So what if I pass the I as 2? Is there any issue? There is no issue. If I compile, wait, I will clear the terminal first. If I compile and run, you can see there is no issue, it is printing 10 in the terminal. So what if I pass the I as 0? So you can see there is no warning, there is no compile time error. That is meant that there is no issue in the compile time. So when you are running, it will show the runtime error. So if I run that, so it is throwing an exception in thread main, that is arithmetic expression, this arithmetic exception. So what is meant by this arithmetic exception? Basically you are trying to divide with 0. This is not possible in any language. So basically if you have another printing statement as well, in this printing what I will say is I will say hello. So basically you are having this statement, in this first statement you are trying to access the value which is undefined, because here you are dividing with 0. So after that I am printing the word hello. If I try to again recompile that, so it is just throwing an exception at me, but it is not showing this one as well. But what if I, so what is meant by this? So you have some execution, but you are not handling it. So that is the reason after the execution, after that whole execution has been stopped, you can see there is no hello printed in the terminal. So that's the reason we need for this kind of things we need to handle the exception. So now how you can handle this exception? So for the critical statements, like, so for this kind of critical statements, you are going to have something called try statement. Okay, what this try will do? So basically it is unfortunately giving the catch statement also. So I will explain this catch statement before. So first of all I will move the try block into this here. So after this try block, if you tried this statement, okay, so one by one all lines are executing. This line also will be executed first. So what if this line fails? So this critical statement, if this execution throws, so what you can say, so basically if this throws some error, you are going to catch that. You are going to catch that with some error statement, and you are going to have some execution here. Inside this catch you can have exception, and you are going to name this exception as E. Okay, there is no error here. So inside this you can perform whatever the operation that you want. So inside this I can say, so that is your wish, whatever the custom message that you want to print, that you can print, and along with that side, so I am going to see what is the error. So here E means the error. So I am going to see what is meant by the error also. So if I see, first it will try the statement. So it says this is 0. So this exception will be thrown, and what is the exception, it will print in the terminal, and it will not stop. So wait, I will remove this stuff, because we are trying to accept the same statement as well. So it will print something in the terminal, and we are going to accept, going to get hello in the terminal as well, because we are accepting the exception, and we are handling the exception. So after the execution it will not stop, and it will going to execute all the statements. So if I compile and run, it will be, see, it is saying something went wrong, and with the error as well, it is saying arithmetic error. So after that it is saying divide by 0. So there is more advantages if you handle exception in this format. So basically if you hover over that, you can see exception is a class. So this is extends to throwable class. Okay, So we have understood what is meant by this catch block. So inside this catch block, you are going to have a class known as exception, and which extends to throwable, and it will be going to catch the error as e, and it will be going to print the what is the actual error. So what if you can actually have exact error? So why you're printing something went wrong? You can just simply say like cannot be divided by 0, but don't do that because you don't know what is the error. So something you have many errors, like many exceptions you can have. Example, I can say like, so this is known as the arithmetic exception, but you can also something like suppose if I say an array I have, suppose if I say the array name is nums. Okay, if I say the array name is nums, so inside that if I directly declare 5 elements, so okay, if we say clearly I have an array of 5 elements, so 0 1 2 3 4 5. So if I try to want to access, so if I come here and if I which is at the 6th position, so you can see clearly we have 0 1 2 3 4. We have only 4 positions in this array called nums, but you are trying to access here. But basically it will be going to throw an error called this message. It will not ignore, it will not see this as well. So if I print something like if I say my custom message, if I see cannot, if I say this message, so basically if I not printed that output, if you see what happens, see this printing cannot divided by 0. Yes, it is correct. So yeah, basically I will try to comment out this so that you cannot get this one, and you are going to have the array inbound outbound array. That if I try to print that, so again it is saying cannot divided by 0. It is not that error. It is not that exception, because that exception is another exception. If you want to see the correct exception, that what is the correct exception, so basically I will come back. So if I try to comment out this, and I am actually catching this error, and if you want to if you see that, so it is saying something went wrong, and after that it is saying array. Here if you see array index outbound exception. Basically you have many types of exceptions. So to handle that all that kind of exceptions, you are going to have all many catch blocks. So if you come down, and you can also have another catch block. So inside this catch block you can customly accept one kind of, you can say you can have arithmetic exception as say let's say e. Okay, you can catch only arithmetic exception. So if you got the arithmetic exception here, you are going to have here only. So if you whenever it sees the arithmetic exception here first, it will be going to handle this block. So if you want to see that, so I will come here. So I will say system.println. So inside this cannot divided by 0, cannot. So this is the custom exception. So how you can handle the catch block for the arithmetic exception. So basically I remove the comments, so you can see actually this is the arithmetic exception. So if I try to run that, you can see. So okay, it is printing cannot divided by 0. If you want to see what is the actual issue also, you can simply print this also. If you try to run that, so you can see it is printing the issue also. It is saying arithmetic exception cannot divided by 0. So like that, this exception is a class which will handle all the things. So in general we will use this. For the custom exception we will use this. So not only that, we can have the other kind of exceptions as well. We can have array outbound. So you can see array index outbound exception. We can also have this kind of exception, and we can simply say. So basically according to your requirement, you are going to pass. If I again try to print that the same thing, array outbound. So if I try to access the nums of 6, so it will be going to throw me an array outbound issue. So if I try to comment out this, now you can see it will be not going to execute this, it will be not going to execute this, it will just print arrays out of bound issue. So like that you can customize the catch block. So whatever the requirement that you are using, according to that requirement you can print the same, what is the issue, according to that you can print. So if you don't print this, no problem, you can only have this exception class as well. So here exception is a class, it is coming from java.lang. okay, you can see class. So here array.bound is also a class which is coming from java.lang. okay, you can see that. So if I try to run that, so you can see clearly now it is printing array is out of bound. So like that you can handle the custom array error messages. That is your wish. Okay, so I hope you understood this one. This for your understanding, I will remove this one array out of bound, and I will remove this array as well. So what if you want to print something else other than this printing here? So you can simply come here, and so in this try block I will remove from this one, and I will keep this integer as well. So this is the arithmetic exception. So instead of having this print statement, what I will be let it be there. So instead of having that, what I will be going to say is j is equals to, so I will say j is equals to, so let's say 20/1. whenever if you see this kind of exception, whenever this try in the try block, if you have the I is 0, if you have this condition, when this arithmetic exception happens, you can handle this kind of situation. You can handle like this. Okay, so I will say int. Okay, I will handle in this fashion and I will print the j. So basically what I am doing is, instead of printing something else, you can handle the exception like this. You can print whatever in the catch statement, whatever the block you want to execute, you can execute all the stuff in this. So see, whenever I am getting 0 or arithmetic exception here, I am trying to assign this statement and I am trying to print this stuff. 0 is the default value, you can see. So you can also remove this stuff as well. And if you try to print that, so it is saying default value is 20, you cannot print by 0 and hello. So whenever you have an exception, you can simply print something else, or you can have an exception handling like this in this fashion. So that is according to a requirement. And not only that, so if you have this kind of error, so what you can say is simply, you can say throw new arithmetic exception. So inside this we are going to have an value. So okay, so basically what in this try block, whenever you got this kind of, so whenever if you have this kind of issue, whenever if you are whenever in the try block, if you have this exception, so you can use this keyword called throw, so new keyword, and you can call this arithmetic exception. So this arithmetic exception will accept an argument and it will going to call this catch block. So inside this catch block, this will be printed. And not only that, if you have basically what this throw statement will do means, it will be going to call this catch block. So now if I run that, you can see, so before that we are not throwing this one, so it will be directly going to call this. Okay, so with the help of this throw, whatever the custom error exception you can throw, that is your ways. So not only that, if I want to throw another thing, that is the exception. So if I just throw a normal exception, what if I compile and run, you can see it is printing again this value. Why it is printing again this value? Because here exception is of type cannot be divided by 0. So that is the reason it is again going to arithmetic exception and it is printing here. So if I remove this, and what if I try to run again? So if I try to run again, it is saying something went wrong and it is saying arithmetic exception. So before that, I am accepting the arithmetic exception as E and I am printing that cannot divide by 0 and I am printing in the terminal. Now you are not accepting that custom exception and you are just accepting as E exception. So you are throwing an error always through exception. So it will be going to call this as the way. So this is the way how you use the try catch block. You can use multiple catch blocks also. So this concept is known as exception. So I hope you understood this video. Thanks for watching up to now.